It was such a flamboyant, vibrant, and in many ways heated moment of electioneering during the 2015-2016 electoral process. Candidates staging rallies, loud music, football matches from village to village, convincing the residents that they are the right choice. Faced with a needy community that cared less about the ambiguity of their promised service delivery, many resorted to sharing immediate economic gains in form of cash. The incumbents who had registered strong community support didn't bother to campaign, but rather would simply show face, wave and dance to the music.
Promises zo zali nzibu okufuna banga abasinga ku campaigning zaabwe bo bazinanga buzini nga badda mu ndongo nga tewali ayogera.
Contenders promised heaven on earth, things within their mandate and out of their docket, well knowing the impossible and the possible. To the people's surprise, local leaders were moving from one religious institution to another to seek for political blessings from religious leaders who could not realize the thought of using their platforms more strategically in the due event. The less spiritual became more spiritual during that time. While some of the contenders may remain committed to fulfilling their promises after being elected, others make promises for purposes of inciting voters to elect them into office, and after being elected, they do not fulfill what they promised. Yet, several of the promises made are key needs to the communities, and failure to fulfill them has an implication on the state of service delivery and the community development. To address the concern, the United Religions Initiative, Great Lakes, with support from the Open Society Initiative of East Africa, initiated a pilot project aiming at holding parliamentary, MPs and local government elected candidates, especially LC5 chairpersons and their councillors, accountable on their promises made during the 2015-2016 election.
Omusomo guno gwongedde okugatta abantu abatulonda naffe abakulembeze bwabwe okwongera okumanya bye twabasuubiza oba tubituukiriza.
2015, that is when we started with this program of evaluation, and it had to do with the monitoring campaigns of leaders and the promises that they make.
For a start, the target districts for this project were Wakiso, Mukono and Kayunga, where United Religions Initiative, Great Lakes, sent out electoral campaign monitors at the beginning of the 2015-2016 campaign period to consistently monitor the campaign process for purposes of extracting and recording promises made by the targeted leaders.
Starting this program, we had an identification of campaign monitors from each of these 3 districts, and we had what we call religious leaders coming from different faith backgrounds, being that the United Religions Initiative, we are for all religions and all cultures.
Some of them promised what was out of their mandate, like they promised construction of roads, bringing in piped water, even some promised to educate orphans.
Engaging the elected leaders on media and public platforms on their promises was also done in the process.
Era nze ndi mumativu n'ekitongole kino nti nga bwe kizze kijja tuyamba nnyo okujjayo oba okutujjamu abo abakulembeze abadde bajja ne batusaba obululu naye nga bajjidde ku pokopoko mu kutulimba batwale obululu bwaffe bo bagende bekkuse ku lwabwe.
Kola URI etuyambye nga erondoola wano wansi okuva wansi mu bantu okumanya kiki buli muntu kyalina okukola.
Later, URI-GL did a validation process whereby they held meetings with some of the elected officials to verify the collected information before other related project engagements would take place. In order to achieve this, United Religions Initiative had to carry out various activities, including strategically planning meetings with selected committee, capacity building training for religious and cultural leaders, and identification of project teams at the districts.
Built the capacity of religious leaders from different faith backgrounds.
And lastly, conducting community dialogues with the elected leaders.
Omubaka yasobola okusaka ekyamazima mu myaka gino 5 gino tetugenda kwejjusa naye konto ziri 11 zasase
I think I would advise that somebody to promise something in his capacity to fulfill.
Much has been gained from the project at the community level to the district level, including laying down a foundation and setting a momentum to support grassroots community consciousness on civil and human rights strategies for a demand-driven society, accountability, and people-centered governance. United Religions Initiative is gradually working on building harmonious relations between the leaders and their voters to find solutions to the problems they face. Such platforms have been opened up by this initiative, especially through the extraction and follow-up of the promises by the elected leaders. The religious leaders now have a platform to engage the policymakers and their local leadership to highlight the community needs.
MPs and those old politicians who lie, the church is actually seeing you as if you are children of the devil. Never lie. Always speak the truth and work for people. The truth.
Singa abantu try to gendera ku for God and my country. Bino netwalire tusumbwa. Naye abantu tebalina dini.
To be a politician is to get a job and an income. As a result, people come up with all sorts of promises for the sake of getting the vote.
Their moral credibility has been reawakened by this project to make ethical calls for accountability and better service delivery.
As leaders, we have to be honest with our people. And we should also have the courtesy to say sorry when we go wrong.
URI-GL as an organization is gaining a track record of expertise in attempting to set the maiden agenda for electoral accountability. Being a first-of-its-kind initiative provides lessons and good practices, especially the adoption of faith-based approach to building a demand-driven society, accountability, and people-centered governance. However, majority of the candidates lack personal campaign manifestos, let alone making reference to their party manifestos.
Bebira bagamba biri private naye abaana bagamba bagoberera za bibiina. Kati ekyo ne kitubeera nga si kyangu okola ki? Okunoonya okupikinga manifestos okuva from specific candidates.
This created an environment of promises made to hoodwink people into voting for candidates. Other candidates didn't commit on making promises out of fear of being pinned by the electorate spending much of their time pinpointing at government weaknesses.
Central government has crippled decentralization, especially in terms of what? Resources.
The 2015-2016 electoral process has been recorded in the books as the most monetized electoral process so far. This has played out both on the side of the aspirants and the voters. This precedence was particularly eminent during the NRM party primaries, where the voters got accustomed to money for any commitment to a campaign assignment. The Boda Boda riders feasted the most, and musicians as well as the other local persons. It was therefore a complex atmosphere for the less resourced candidates, mostly independent candidates, and a greater portion of the opposition to convince voters without monetary provisions. It was also noted that collection of the campaign promises and other electoral-related issues became pretty hard in an environment where both the voters and the candidates operated contrary to the Electoral Commission guidelines. The limited awareness, even among the candidates, created suspicion of the campaign monitors on information sharing, which is constitutionally provided for. Although Uganda has a decentralized system of governance, it was realized that its implementation is weak and wanting for local governance to thrive. The leadership at this level has expressed an outcry for the central government's dictation of business at their level. Most of the district chairpersons in the target districts have expressed concern for government interference in local tenders, local revenue collection, procurement, and others, hence lowering the quality of service, and sometimes supervision becomes hard.
The government in which I work, there's so many embezzlements of funds and misallocation.
The stalemate in the LC elections is a resound concern for many development stakeholders, as obstacles standing in the way of lower level governance and development in general.
We promised people good service delivery, which include security, which include health, and as you are aware and you have been seeing on the news, you can find a week or a month without seeing anything of such child sacrifice. Whereby we have even gone far to the highland, we are constructing a hospital in Kimi Island.
The absence of functional village council committees has inevitably pushed the burden to the policymakers, parliamentarians, and other local leaders who have to shoulder the demands of the people. The deplorable state of service delivery nationwide has also forced majority of policymakers, in this case MPs, to overstep their mandate of jurisdiction, thereby finding themselves attending to people's needs and concerns. In this desperate situation, people have even demanded petty items like saucepans, tents, scholastic materials from their policymakers.
Abantu mutukozesa ensobi bwe tujjeeyo mujja muteekako ebisaba bingi singa ate mango tokunkumudde mango so kama kitwaliza n'okubalimba naffe banga olusiba tetulina naye tubalimba okubanga tusobola okutuwaaki akalunenga mwe mutuleta okutukozesa ensobi olw'okutusaba ebintu ng'ebyo.
After evaluating the success and the gaps in this project, it all points to the need for continuation of the initiative to reinforce the momentum that has been set on electoral accountability by scaling up civic consciousness, equipping the religious and other opinion leaders with the needed skills to demand service delivery, and also addressing the rigidity of some of the leaders and other actors. As we conclude 2 years in this process, it is very clear that the community and the leadership still have an uphill task of meeting each other's needs based on the respective mandates.
Omuntu ndowooza okujja okuluga nti agenda kwesimbawo tumubuuzengako ogenda kwesimbawo constitution eriwa emu ku bitusobola okubuuza abagenda okwesimbawo atukulemberere mu maki mu mateeka.
Many voters still feel that those they elected never commit to their promises apart from a few, while others want a quick and easy gain. The elected leaders, on the other hand, have to juggle between their official mandate while at the same time trying to please those who are most likely to bring them back into office by ensuring that they overstep their official roles. This situation has caused a serious gap of expectations and service delivery in the various communities. It is therefore important to ensure that leaders promise what they can deliver as opposed to what the electorate wants to hear, as this is most likely to cause unnecessary friction based on perceived lies.